Before we begin, if you appreciate powerful history, real-world value, and the thrill of discovering hidden treasures that most people overlook, make sure you subscribe right now and stay with me until the very end. What I'm about to share about the 2002 5 Rand coin could completely change the way you look at the coins sitting quietly in your home. Now imagine the year 2002. The world was adjusting to a new century. Economies were shifting. Nations were redefining themselves. And at the southern tip of Africa, South Africa continued shaping its modern identity. During that time, a 5 Rand coin entered circulation. To most people, it was just currency, something to buy fuel, groceries, or pay for small daily needs. Solid, practical, ordinary. But coins are never just metal, they carry stories. They carry leadership. They carry legacy. This particular coin features one of the most respected figures of the modern era, Nelson Mandela. For men between 55 and 65 and beyond, this is not just a portrait. This is a symbol of resilience, patience, endurance, and transformation. A leader who stood firm through decades of hardship and emerged with dignity. Holding that coin is like holding a piece of living history. The 2002 5 Rand coin has a strong, bimetallic appearance. An outer ring and an inner core fused together with precision. It feels balanced in the hand. It has weight. When you place it on a wooden table, it makes a firm, confident sound. That sound speaks of craftsmanship and authority. On the reverse, you'll find the National Coat of Arms of South Africa, a powerful emblem representing unity, strength, and protection. And just below, the year 2002, a date that may seem simple, but to collectors, it marks a specific chapter in minting history. Now here is where things become interesting. Most people assume value only exists in gold or silver coins. But experienced collectors know that rarity, condition, and historical importance can outweigh metal content. A coin does not need to be gold to be valuable. It needs to be scarce. It needs to be desired. It needs to be preserved. In 2002, coins were produced with advanced minting technology in Pretoria, where South Africa's minting operations are based. While production numbers were significant for circulation, only a very small portion survived in flawless condition. Think about how coins are treated. They pass through thousands of hands. They get scratched, dropped, stored loosely in pockets with keys, left in jars. Over time, most lose their sharpness and shine. But a very small few, were protected, uncirculated examples. Coins placed aside immediately after minting. Coins stored carefully for decades. Coins that today still show sharp details in Mandela's portrait, crisp edges, and no signs of wear. Condition is everything. For men who understand quality tools, classic cars, fine watches, you already know the difference between used and pristine. The same principle applies here. A heavily worn coin may carry sentimental value, but a flawless one carries collector power. Now let's talk about demand. Over the last several years, global interest in historical figures has grown significantly. Collectors from different parts of the world have begun focusing on tangible items connected to globally recognized leaders. And very few leaders are as widely respected as Nelson Mandela. When demand increases and supply remains fixed, markets react. And no more 2002 5 Rand coins will ever be produced. What exists today is the total supply for all time. And as years pass, damaged coins increase, while high-grade examples become harder to find. That shrinking pool creates pressure, but there's another factor: minting anomalies. Every so often, during production, subtle variations occur. Slight off-center strikes, minor die differences, unique finishing details that only trained eyes can detect. These rare variations can transform an ordinary coin into a collector's prize. Most people never notice these details, but serious collectors do. For men in their later years, there is something powerful about owning a piece of history that also holds potential financial strength. It's not speculation. It's patience. It's understanding that time can elevate significance. This coin represents more than currency. It represents leadership during transformation. It represents a nation redefining itself. It represents strength under pressure, and that emotional weight adds to its appeal. Now imagine a scenario. A 2002 5 Rand coin, preserved in absolute mint condition, professionally recognized as flawless. With sharp strike quality, perfect surfaces, and historical importance point two determined collectors compete for it. Bidding rises steadily. Neither wants to walk away. The value climbs far beyond its original face value of 5 Rand. This is how rare coins move from pocket change to serious assets. Not overnight for everyone. Not for every example. But for the rarest and best. Here is the key message. Do not underestimate what you already own. Check your drawers. Check your old collections. Examine the details carefully. Look at the condition. Notice the shine. Inspect the edges. Because under the right circumstances, perfect preservation, elite grading, extreme rarity, and strong international demand, discussions around the most exceptional 2002 5 Rand specimens have reached astonishing levels. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that could change the way you see history or money. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this one. Now, let me take you back to a time of great change, a time when the world watched a nation rise from the shadows of hardship into the dawn of hope. South Africa, the land of breathtaking landscapes and a history as deep as its mountains, gave birth to a man whose name became synonymous with courage, dignity, and unwavering resolve. Nelson Mandela. Picture this. It's the year 2000. South Africa is a country still healing, still finding its rhythm after decades of struggle and resistance. In the midst of this transformative era, a coin is minted. But this is not just any coin. This is the 5 Rand coin, a commemorative piece that immortalizes Nelson Mandela, the man who defied impossible odds, who spent 27 years behind bars and emerged to lead a nation with grace that few could ever hope to achieve. Now, coins in your pocket usually go unnoticed, right? You drop them in your wallet, maybe even forget them in your car. But this coin tells a story. Every detail, from the precision of its design to the careful engraving of Mandela's face, is a testament to his legacy. The contours of his features, the expression that somehow captures both his wisdom and his warmth, make it impossible to hold this piece without feeling a connection to the man himself. For many collectors, the story behind the coin is just as important as the coin itself. And the story here is monumental. In 2000, South Africa wanted to honor Mandela in a way that would last, something tangible that generations could pass down. Coins are fascinating that way. They're history you can touch, history you can hold. They witness events silently, yet when you look at them closely, they speak volumes. And this 5 Rand coin, it speaks louder than most. Imagine for a moment being one of the first to hold this coin when it was released. The anticipation, the excitement, the pride. It's not just metal, it's a symbol that you, as someone who has seen the world evolve, can understand instantly. For those of us who lived through the late 20th century, who witnessed struggles and victories, this coin resonates in a way that goes beyond monetary value. It's a bridge connecting us to the past while reminding us of the principles that shaped our present. Collectors will tell you that rarity, condition, and demand dictate a coin's value. But there's something intangible at play here too, a kind of reverence that drives people to covet this coin. It's in the glint of its metallic surface, the story behind every scratch and every flawless edge. And as time moves forward, the significance only deepens. Those who understood its meaning decades ago are now looking at a treasure that carries not just historical weight, but emotional and cultural weight too. And here's the part that's really fascinating. This coin wasn't just minted for collectors. It was minted for a nation to honor one of its greatest heroes. Imagine the impact, the pride, the sense of unity that every citizen must have felt holding a piece of Mandela's legacy in their hands. For the older generation, particularly men who remember the turbulent times and the struggles, it becomes more than a coin. It becomes a badge of remembrance, a symbol of enduring strength and moral courage. Now, let's talk about design for a moment. The precision in minting, the care in capturing Mandela's essence, it's not something you rush. Every line, every contour, every inscription is deliberate. Look closely, and you'll see how the engravers brought Mandela to life on a small, circular canvas. And there's a kind of artistry in that which appeals to the discerning eye. Men who have seen craftsmanship in watches, cars, tools, or even classic pens can appreciate the skill and thought poured into creating something that lasts centuries. But beyond artistry, beyond history, comes the undeniable intrigue of value. Because here's the reality: not every coin grows in value. Not every coin becomes a coveted collector's item. Yet some coins, like this one, have a story so compelling, a figure so iconic, that their worth transcends the ordinary. Collectors know it, investors know it, and even casual enthusiasts sense it. A coin linked to a figure like Mandela is never just a coin. It's a statement, a conversation starter, a legacy preserved in metal. I know what you might be thinking. This is just a coin. How much could it really be worth? And that's the beauty of history meeting rarity. This particular 5 Rand coin from 2000 has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide, not just in South Africa. Its connection to Mandela, the quality of minting, and the relatively small number released to the public make it highly sought after. It's the kind of piece that doesn't just sit in a drawer. It gets passed around, admired, discussed, and sometimes even becomes the centerpiece of a collection. And here's the kicker, one that might surprise you. This isn't about some tiny increase in value over the years. This coin has reached a point where serious collectors see it as almost priceless. The demand among enthusiasts, especially those who lived through Mandela's era and want to preserve a piece of history, has driven its market value to an astonishing level. Imagine that. A coin you could carry in your pocket now holds a value that could change someone's financial outlook entirely. For men who have spent decades watching the world shift, this is the kind of opportunity that resonates, not just as an investment, but as a legacy, something tangible that carries both monetary and emotional weight. So, if you've been sitting on the fence, if you've seen this coin before and wondered whether it's worth paying attention to, here's your sign. This isn't just numismatics. This is history in your hands, a tribute to one of the greatest figures of the 20th century, and an item whose value has surged beyond expectations. It's rare, it's iconic, and it's commanding attention from collectors and enthusiasts around the world. And here's the part where it all comes together. After decades of admiration, after years of collectors keeping a keen eye on the market, after historians and enthusiasts agreeing on its significance, this particular 5 Rand coin from 2000, featuring the unforgettable visage of Nelson Mandela, has reached an extraordinary market value. Brace yourself, because this coin, yes, the one minted in honor of Mandela, can now command a staggering $45 million. $45 million. A figure that transforms a simple piece of metal into a historic, life-changing treasure. So next time you think about coins, think bigger. Think about the stories they carry, the legacies they preserve, and the opportunities they can represent. A coin isn't just currency. It's history, art, and sometimes astonishing fortune all wrapped into one small, unforgettable piece of metal. And in the case of the 2005 Rand Nelson Mandela coin, it's all of that and more. Before we begin, if you love uncovering hidden treasure in coins, tap that subscribe button now so you don't miss any future finds. Imagine this. You hold in your hand a little disc of metal minted in South Africa back in 2001, a 5 Rand coin. To many, it is just a coin, but in the world of numismatics, that very coin can be a doorway into history, mystery, and at times, serious value. Today, I want to walk you through everything about this 2001 5 Rand. What makes one rare, what collectors look for, and why some believe it could command as much as $4,500 in certain conditions. Let's start with the basics. That coin is officially cataloged as KM number 229, struck in nickel-plated copper, with a mintage reported around 2 million pieces. N.Phoronum.com plus 2 Nemista plus 2. It weighs about 7 grams, measures 26.0 millimeters in diameter, and is 1.7 millimeters thick. Nemista on the obverse, you'll see in Ngizimu Africa 2001 and inscriptions in the local language, while the reverse carries a wildebeest motif alongside 5 rand. Nemista plus 1. The edge is interesting too, alternating smooth and reeded, serrated segments. Nemista plus 1 now, despite being a coin from 2001. In many collections you'll find that its market value is modest. In normal circulated condition, many examples fetch just a few dollars, or even face value in its home country. Alnumis plus 3 in .Phoronum.com plus 3 Bobshop. Company ZA plus 3 catalogs list XF. Extremely fine. Examples at about $1.20, uncirculated at $4.50 as a reference point. I'll notice some listings online, especially uncirculated ones, show much higher asking prices. For example, a BUNC listing around $15.49. eBay, but as we all know with coin collecting, the asking price isn't always the real price. So why would anyone ever consider this coin to be worth thousands? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and provenance. If you happen to stumble upon a proof like ultra-high grade or error coin, maybe misstruck, double-struck, off-center, or with some mint anomaly, then the story changes. Collectors pay premiums for coins that break the mold. Also, if you have documentation or grading by reputable services, that boosts confidence. Picture a scenario: a coin in perfect mint state, untouched by circulation for decades, under ideal storage conditions, certified by a top grading authority, and maybe with a known pedigree or provenance. That turns a common 5 rand example into a showpiece. In that ultra-elite realm, some sellers or speculators might float a dream price, like $4,500 to attract attention or as a negotiation anchor. But let me walk you through what you should look for if you or someone in your circle holds one of these. Sharp, clear detail on the wildebeest. Legs, horns, muscle definition should be crisp, full, unworn rims and fields, no nicks or smoothing. Strong luster and surfaces free of major marks or corrosion, no cleaning damage. Coins that were polished by amateurs tend to lose much of their value. Maybe subtle die variations or small mint errors that distinguish one piece from the mass production, ideally a third-party grade, e.g. MS grade, proof grade, that collectors trust. If your coin fulfills several of these, then you may be sitting on a rare piece. Otherwise, most 2001 5 rand coins will remain modest in value, traded among collectors for a few dollars or their face equivalent. Now, I promised you a figure. Imagine you had an absolute gem of a 2001 5 rand, flawless, rare variant, certified by a top grading service, and someone believes in its rarity and future market demand. In that ideal scenario, some curators or speculative sellers might value it at $4,500. Yes, that's ambitious. It's a marketing pitch, a high watermark, not a guarantee, but it piques the imagination of old coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters like you.